I never thought my 45th birthday would be the day everything fell apart. A text from my wife Claire changed it all. Sold your Mustang. My parents needed a new car. Thanks for keeping this family together. Then came the next blow. Also, you need to pay $20,000 to fix my parents' house. Deadline's Friday. When I texted back, no way, Claire's reply came instantly. Then get lost. You're cut off. I quietly left our house in Ravenna, Seattle. By morning, they'd find what I left on the dining table. Now Claire's probably panicking, and her parents, Robert and Diane, are likely screaming.
Before diving into the story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the latest video.
I'm James Sullivan, 45, a software engineer at Nexus Tech Solutions in South Lake Union, Seattle. I'm just an ordinary middle-aged guy, trying to balance a high-pressure job and family life. For 15 years I've worked hard to support Claire and her parents, Robert and Diane Foster, who always seemed to need my money. I saved every penny, dreaming of one day starting my own company, but Claire always convinced me to stay in our Ravenna townhouse to save costs. Now I know it was never for my benefit. On my birthday morning, I woke up early in our quiet Ravenna home. I put on a suit, preparing for a day at Nexus Tech Solutions, hoping Claire might do something, even just a card, but she only mumbled, "Happy birthday, James," eyes glued to her phone, scrolling social media. "Thanks, Claire," I replied, waiting for some gesture, but nothing came. "Don't forget to take my mom to the doctor this afternoon," she added, still not looking up. I nodded, swallowing the familiar disappointment. This wasn't the first time my birthday was overshadowed by Robert and Diane's needs. When I turned 40, Claire canceled our dinner because Diane needed her urgently. At 42, my year-end bonus managed to pay off Robert's credit card debt. By now I'd stopped expecting anything special. The Ford Mustang 1969 parked in our garage was my pride and joy. I bought it at an auction 10 years ago, spending hundreds of hours restoring it with my dad before he passed away. It's worth about $50,000, but its emotional value, those evenings in the garage, Dad teaching me to change spark plugs, paint the body, is priceless. I locked the garage, checked the Mustang one last time, then drove the company car to Compass Cafe in Capitol Hill, where I often stopped before heading to the office. Compass Cafe was bustling as usual, the smell of roasted coffee and jazz music creating a warm atmosphere. My colleagues at Nexus Tech Solutions surprised me. Lisa, the project assistant, brought a cupcake with a tiny candle. "Happy birthday, James," she smiled. Greg Marshall, my boss, patted my shoulder, handing me a card. "You're one of the hardest workers here, James. We appreciate you." That small gesture warmed my heart, as if somewhere, my efforts were recognized. During lunch break, I sat in a corner of the cafe sipping coffee when my phone buzzed. Claire's text appeared on the screen, "Sold your Mustang. My parents needed a new car. Thanks for keeping this family together." I stared, heart pounding, certain I'd misread. Hands trembling, I called Claire, but she didn't answer. Another text arrived. "Also, you need to pay $20,000 to fix my parents' house. Deadline's Friday." The world tilted. The Mustang, bought with my own sweat, sold without my consent. And $20,000. Robert and Diane already had a nice house, re-roofed last year, with my money. How could I come up with that in 3 days? Hands shaking, I texted back. "No way." Claire replied instantly. "Then get lost. You're cut off." Just like that, on my birthday I was kicked out of the house I'd paid the mortgage on for 15 years, just for refusing Claire and her parents' unreasonable demands. I sat frozen, the cafe's customers still laughing and talking, but I felt trapped in a nightmare. I tried to finish the workday, my mind in chaos. How could I go on when the Mustang, my last piece of dad, was gone? Project files, personal documents in the car. Where were they now? Greg noticed my distraction. "Everything okay, James? You look out of it," he asks. I forced a smile. "Just family stuff. I'll handle it." But as I left the office, driving a rented Toyota to Nathan Brooks's apartment in Belltown, I knew I was facing the biggest crisis of my life. Nathan opened the door, pulling me in. "What's going on, James? What did Claire do this time?" I sank onto the couch, telling him about the text, the Mustang, the $20,000. Nathan shook his head. "She sold your car? The one you and your dad worked on for a decade? And she's demanding money?" "James, this is too much." I nodded, throat. I'd sacrificed so much. Savings, dreams, time to keep the family together. But now I realized I was just a tool for Claire and her parents. Claire and I got married 15 years ago, when we were young and full of dreams. We bought the Ravenna townhouse, hoping to build a happy family. Back then, Claire was a dynamic accountant, and I was just starting as a software engineer at Nexus Tech Solutions. But things changed when her parents, Robert and Diane Foster, started relying on us, or rather on me. At first it was small requests, a few $100 for plumbing, a small loan for bills. I agreed, thinking it was the right thing for family. But gradually, those requests became an endless burden. I told Nathan about the first time I saw the unfairness. When I was 35, I got a $12,000 bonus after a big project at Nexus. I planned to use it to start a company, a dream I'd had since college. But Claire cried, saying Robert needed it to pay off credit card debt from a bad investment. I gave the money, thinking it was the right thing. Then I found out Robert used some of it to buy a big screen TV. Claire just shrugged. My dad needs to relax, James. You don't want him stressed, do you? I swallowed my anger, telling myself family came first. Then, when I was 38, Diane needed eye surgery, costing. Claire said they didn't have enough insurance, so I dipped into savings. But months later, I saw Diane flaunting a designer handbag on social media. When I asked, Claire brushed it off. My mom deserves to be pampered. I started seeing the pattern. I worked tirelessly, while Robert and Diane spent like my money was theirs. Claire always took their side, making me feel selfish if I refused. The Ravenna house was the clearest proof of the unfairness. I paid 65% of the mortgage, utilities and insurance, while Claire contributed a small portion from her accounting salary. Yet she said I was lucky to live in her big family. I remembered my 40th birthday, wanting a small dinner, but Claire canceled at the last minute because Diane felt unwell. Turns out, Diane just wanted Claire to take her to a spa. That year I sat alone at Compass Cafe, watching Seattle rain fall outside, wondering what I'd done wrong. The Mustang was the one thing I kept for myself. Every bolt, every coat of paint, held memories of me. Claire knew that. She'd sat with me, listening to stories about Dad, promising to cherish the Mustang. But now, she sold it to buy an SUV for Robert and Diane, pocketing the $20,000 difference from its $50,000 value. Nathan's eyes widened. She sold the Mustang, and kept the extra cash. James, this isn't the first time Claire's done this. I nodded, throat tight. Nathan was right. This pattern had gone on too long. I told him about Claire's brother Nick, who I loaned $5,000 to buy land, but he never repaid. Claire said, Nick's trying, James. You don't want my brother to fail, do you? I recalled asking for a vacation with Claire, but she refused because Robert needed me to fix his roof, costing $3,000 from my pocket again. Every time I objected, Claire made me feel guilty, like I was betraying family. James, Nathan cut in, voice serious. You're not an eight. Claire and her parents treat your assets like they're theirs. You've got to do something. I looked at him feeling both angry and helpless. I'd sacrificed so much, money, dreams, self-respect, to keep the peace. But this time, Claire had gone too far. Selling the Mustang wasn't just taking a car. She'd violated my memories of Dad, the one thing I'd never trade. I held the glass of water, hands still shaking. I don't know where to start, Nathan, but I can't keep going like this. Nathan nodded. We'll figure it out. But first, you need to gather evidence. Claire can't deny it if you have documents. That thought woke me up. Maybe it was time to expose the truth. Not just to Claire, but to Robert and Diane too. Near midnight I drove the rented Toyota through the quiet streets of Ravenna. Our townhouse appeared under the dim glow of streetlights, but it no longer felt like home. The living room light was still on, and I saw Robert's silhouette through the window, watching TV. I took a deep breath, unlocked the door and tried to stay quiet to avoid confrontation. But as I stepped inside, I heard Diane's voice from the kitchen. Who's there? I froze, heart racing, but answered softly, It's just me, Diane. I'm grabbing some stuff and leaving. She appeared at the kitchen door in a robe, eyes narrowed. James? Claire said, You walked out. What are you sneaking back for in the middle of the night? I kept my voice calm. I'm just getting my personal things. Diane shrugged, but her eyes were full of suspicion. I went upstairs to the study, where I kept the safe with my documents. But when I opened the door I froze. The desk drawer was ransacked, and my wristwatch, the last gift my dad gave me before he passed away, was gone. I turned back, locking eyes with Diane at the foot of the stairs, and said coldly, Diane, Where's my watch? She smirked. Oh, that old watch. Claire said I could take it. You don't need that stuff if you're abandoning the house, right? My blood boiled, but I held it together. This wasn't the time to argue. I went back to the desk, opened the safe, and pulled out the file of documents I'd carefully kept, bills I'd paid for Robert and Diane, their credit card debts, home repairs and medical costs, copies of unauthorized transfers from our joint account, $10,000 for stuff bought for Nick, Claire's brother, and an unpaid loan contract, $25,000 for Robert's investment. I quickly scanned the documents with my phone, created a PDF, and emailed it to Claire with the subject, "The truth about who's been supporting who." On the dining table, I left a printed copy of the PDF, along with a handwritten note, "I'm no longer your ATM. Time to face the truth." As I was packing clothes into a suitcase, Robert glanced up from the couch, holding a beer can. "What are you doing, James?" he asked, his voice dripping with disdain. "Getting my stuff," I replied, not looking up. He laughed loudly. "You're abandoning Claire and us over that old piece of junk car? Your Mustang wasn't worth much anyway. I sold it for $30,000 bucks." I froze. The Mustang was worth $50,000, but Claire and I had only gotten $30,000. I turned, voice trembling with anger. "That wasn't your car to sell, it was mine." Robert shrugged, as if I were overreacting. "Don't be so dramatic, James. You lived here rent-free, didn't you? Consider it paying your dues." His words cut like a knife. I'd paid 65% of the mortgage, utilities and their debts, but to Robert I was a freeloader. I wanted to yell, but Claire had once said Robert saw me as part of the family, but now I saw clearly. When Robert left, I did a final check. I took my work laptop, personal documents, and a small photo of me and my dad by the Mustang. Everything else, furniture, mementos, I left behind. I didn't want to take anything from this house that had become a prison. I stepped outside, Seattle's rain soaking my jacket, but I felt relief. For the first time in 15 years, I was acting for myself. I drove back to Belltown, to Nathan's apartment. He opened the door, saw the suitcase in my hand, and nodded. "You did it. What's next?" I sank onto the couch, exhausted but resolute. "Yeah, I left the evidence. Claire and her parents will have to face it." Nathan clapped my shoulder. "Good, but brace yourself. They won't let this slide." I nodded, knowing he was right. Claire, Robert and Diane would come at me hard. I woke up on the couch in Nathan Brooks's apartment in Belltown, Seattle, after a few hours of fitful sleep. My head was buzzing, the memory of last night still vivid. I checked my phone, finding 27 texts, 15 missed calls and 3 voicemails from Claire. The first text, sent at 7:14 a.m., was from her. "What the hell did you do? My parents are freaking out." The messages grew more intense. "Dad's face is purple. Mom's crying. Are you suing us? You're insane." And then, "Get back here now, James Sullivan, and explain your..." Claire's voicemail started with anger. "James, get back here right now and explain this pile of slanderous papers. You dare leave this in my house." Then her tone shifted to panic. "James, please, we need to talk like a family. My parents are in shock. There's an explanation for everything." Finally she was almost pleading. "Honey, call me back. We can fix this. I love you." Robert, Claire's dad, sent a blunter message. "Ungrateful jerk. After all we've done for you, this is how you repay us." This is a distortion of the truth, and you know it. But by noon his tone changed. "James, let's talk man to man. We can work something out about the car. Call me back now." Diane texted too, feigning heartbreak. "James, how could you do this to us? We treated you like a... You're destroying our family." I stared at the messages, feeling both angry and exhausted. No apologies, no accountability, just blame and manipulation, exactly as I'd expected. Nathan brought me a cup of coffee, glancing at my phone. "They found the PDF," he said, voice dry. "Faster than I thought." I nodded, sipping the coffee, trying to stay calm. "You ready for this?" Nathan asked. I took a deep breath, as ready as I'll ever be. But then an unexpected call jolted me. From Caleb, my 18-year-old son studying at college in Portland. I answered, voice shaky. "Caleb, you okay, Dad?" Caleb said, sounding worried. "Mom just called, crying. She said you walked out, left some papers that made Grandma and Grandpa lose it. What's going on?" I took a deep breath, briefly explaining Claire's text, how she sold the Mustang, and the $20,000 demand. I didn't dive into the PDF, but Caleb cut in. Mom took $15,000 from your joint savings account, didn't she? I saw the bank confirmation email. She said it was for fixing Grandma's house, but I don't buy it. Caleb's words were a ray of light. My son, usually quiet about family drama, was questioning his mother. Caleb, keep those emails, I said, voice firm. I'll explain later. He agreed, then added, Dad, I don't want Mom hurting you anymore. His words tightened my chest. I hadn't expected Caleb to see through Claire's manipulation. It made me stronger, but also reminded me, this fight wasn't just about me, it affected my son too. Claire didn't stop at text. She posted on Facebook, implying I was irresponsible. When the person you trust most turns their back on family, what do? Praying for strength to get through. The post drew dozens of comments from her friends, calling me selfish and a lousy husband. I shook my head, feeling both angry and amused. Claire was always good at playing the victim, but this time, I wasn't letting her control the narrative. Nathan suggested I contact Amanda Clark, a property dispute lawyer he knew. You need to protect yourself, James. Claire and her parents won't let go easily. I agreed and called Amanda. Over the phone, she asked about the PDF and the Mustang situation. Selling the car without your consent is illegal, Amanda said. We can demand $50,000. The car's true value. I'll help you prepare the case. Her words gave me hope, but also unease. Taking Claire to court meant no turning back. By afternoon, a text from my mom, Dorothy Sullivan, caught me off guard. James, I just spoke to Claire. I'm speechless. I'm coming to Seattle soon. Don't respond to Claire until I see you. Call me now. Dorothy rarely meddled in family matters, but her voice was full of anger. I called back briefly, recounting the Mustang and the PDF. Dorothy said, selling your car and demanding money, that's beyond the line. Her words made me realize I wasn't alone. Less than an hour later, my sister Lisa Sullivan called from Tacoma. James, Mom told me everything. I'm coming. Claire and her parents have gone too far. Lisa's always been blunt, and I knew she wouldn't hold back. She arrived at Nathan's apartment by noon, bringing a box of pastries from our favorite bakery. You can't let Claire keep doing this, Lisa said, sitting down. I've suspected for years, but I didn't think she'd be this brazen. Lisa dropped a bombshell. Mom found out Claire withdrew $30,000 from our family's trust fund, claiming it was for supporting the kids. But Caleb hasn't seen a dime. Caleb, my 18-year-old son, is a light in these dark days. After yesterday's call, he sent more emails with proof. Screenshots of transactions from our joint savings, where Claire withdrew $15,000 to fix Robert and Diane's house. I texted Caleb, thanks, son. Stay safe and keep in touch. He replied, I'm on your side, Dad. Mom shouldn't have done that to you. Caleb's words moved me, showing he's growing up, ready to face the truth about his mom. That afternoon, I met Amanda at her small office in downtown Seattle. She skimmed the documents I sent, nodding, James, what you have here is compelling. Amanda also suggested investigating the family trust Lisa mentioned, suspecting Claire misused it. Her words gave me hope, but also worry.
Back at Nathan's apartment, I got a call from Greg Marshall, my boss at Nexus Tech Solutions. James, I heard from Nathan about your family issues. He said, take today off, but I can arrange extra shifts if you need cash. I also know a tech company looking for a project manager. Higher pay, flexible hours, want me to make an intro? Greg's kindness choked me up. Thanks, Greg. I'll be back at work tomorrow, I replied. His offer was a beacon in the storm. That evening, Dorothy arrived in Seattle, giving me a tight hug and a determined look. James, you did the right thing, she said. She'd contacted the family lawyer. We'll get back the trust fund Claire Dorothy revealed more. The fund, $30,000, was set up for me and Caleb, but Claire convinced her I was too irresponsible to manage it. Claire had manipulated even my family's assets. Caleb called back, his voice steadier. Dad, I found another email. Mom sent it to Grandpa, saying you'd pay the $20,000 because you always do. I don't want her lying about you anymore. When I hung up, Nathan, Lisa, and Dorothy sat around me, forming a protective wall. Lisa took my hand. You're not alone, James. We're your real family. I looked at them, feeling a new strength. I stood in front of my new apartment in South Lake Union, Seattle, holding the key, filled with both excitement and relief. After a week crashing at Nathan Brooks's place in Belltown, I decided to start over. This apartment, close to Nexus Tech Solutions, was my first step toward reclaiming the life Claire and her parents, Robert and Diane Foster, tried to take from me. The South Lake Union apartment is small but modern, with large windows overlooking the city lights and Lake Union's shimmer. I moved in with a few boxes, clothes, work laptop, and a photo of me and my dad by the Mustang. While unpacking, I met Evan Parker, the neighbor across the hall, a 35-ish graphic designer with a friendly smile. "Hey, new neighbor," Evan said, holding a takeout box. "Need a hand? Moving's a nightmare." I laughed, thanked him, and he helped me carry some heavy boxes. Evan's kindness, free of any strings, felt foreign but comforting after years of being used. Good news came on my second day at the apartment. Dorothy called, her voice excited. "James, I spoke with the Mustang's buyer. It was Robert's colleague. He didn't know the car was sold illegally. I paid back $30,000, and he agreed to return the car." I froze, unable to believe my ears. The Mustang, my dad's keepsake, was coming back. The next day, Dorothy drove up, the Mustang gleaming in Seattle's rare sunlight. I hugged her, eyes stinging. "Thank you, Mom. I don't know what to say." Dorothy smiled. "You deserve to be happy, James." Work brought good news too. Greg Marshall, my boss at Nexus Tech Solutions, introduced me to a new tech company in Seattle, looking for a project manager. I interviewed and got the job, with a 20% higher salary and flexible hours. "You're capable, James," the interviewer said. "We need someone like you." I started at the new office, near my apartment, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. I also enrolled in a business planning course, the first step toward realizing my dream of starting a company, which I'd shelved for Robert and Diane. Evan Parker quickly became a close friend. One evening he knocked on my door, bringing beer and offering to help repaint the Mustang. "This car's legendary," Evan said, eyes bright as he admired the Mustang in the building's shared garage. We worked late, painting and talking about dreams. Evan shared how he left a stable job to pursue graphic design, now living true to his passion. "You should do it, James," he said. "Start your company. Don't let anyone stop you." One evening Caleb visited, bringing an old photo, me, him, and Claire on a camping trip when he was little. "I want us to be like this again, Dad," he said, "but I know Mom needs to change." I nodded, promising to always be there for him. As Caleb left, I stood on the apartment balcony, watching Seattle's lights twinkle in the Mustang was back. I had a new job, friends like Evan, and support from Nathan, Lisa, Dorothy, and Caleb. Now Claire wanted to meet, saying she was ready to talk. I agreed, but not alone. Caleb, my 18-year-old son, and my sister Lisa Sullivan would be there. I was no longer the James Sullivan who'd give in. And today, I'd set clear boundaries. Compass Cafe was bustling as usual, the smell of roasted coffee and jazz music creating a familiar atmosphere. Caleb sat beside me, scrolling his phone, but his eyes were determined. Lisa, across from me, checked her watch. "She's late." No surprise. Just then, Claire walked in, wearing a dark green coat, hair tied high. She looked at me, then Caleb, her eyes flickering. "James." "Caleb," she said softly. "Thank you for agreeing to meet." She sat down, avoiding Lisa's gaze. I took a deep breath and started. "Claire, I'm here to listen, but I want the truth. Why did you sell my Mustang? Why demand 20? Claire bowed her head, hands twisting together. I was wrong about the car." She said. "My parents needed a new SUV because their old one broke down. I thought you wouldn't mind, since you always help the family." Her words made my blood boil. "Wouldn't mind?" I cut in. "Claire, that was my car, my dad's keepsake. You knew, and you kept $20,000 of the surplus after selling it." Claire blinked, voice trembling. "I didn't keep the surplus. My dad," he said, "he needed it to pay debts." Lisa scoffed. "How convenient, Claire. What about the $30,000 from our family trust? What did you use that for?" Claire paled, looking to Caleb for help. Caleb shook his head. "Mom, I saw the email you sent Grandpa. You said Dad would pay $20,000 because he always does. You took $15,000 from the joint account to fix Grandma's house, didn't you?" Claire burst into tears. "Caleb, you don't understand. Your grandparents are $50,000 in debt from a failed investment. I was just trying to help them." I looked at her, feeling both angry and pitying. "Claire," I said firmly, "you didn't help. You took my money, Caleb's money, to cover their mistakes. You sold the Mustang without asking me. That's not love. That's manipulation." Suddenly, Robert and Diane burst in, pushing open the cafe door. Robert pointed at me. James, you're ruining our family with that slanderous paperwork. You owe us for marrying Claire. Diane sobbed. How could you do this to us, James? We treated you like a son. Lisa stood, voice icy. Enough. This is James and Claire's meeting. Get out or I'm calling the police. Robert started to argue, but Caleb spoke up. Grandma, Grandpa, stop. I saw all the emails. Dad doesn't owe anyone anything. Diane froze, and Robert stepped back. Lisa pulled out her phone, called the police, and within minutes an officer arrived, asking Robert and Diane to leave. Claire wiped her tears. Looking at me, James, I don't know how to fix this. I was wrong, but I love you. I took a deep breath, voice calm. Claire, I don't want to destroy the family, but I need you to repay the $50,000 value of the Mustang and the If you want to save our relationship, you have to join marriage counseling and stop letting your parents control you. I won't return to Ravenna until that happens. Claire nodded, voice choked. I'll try. Caleb took my hand. Dad, I'm proud of you. As Claire left, Lisa patted my shoulder. You did great, James. Caleb hugged me. I'm with you, Dad, whether Mom changes or not. I looked at them, feeling relieved. Amanda Clark, my lawyer, called right after, saying the trial for the family trust would happen soon. We have enough evidence, she said. I left Compass Cafe, stepping onto Seattle's wet streets, light rain falling. I'd faced Claire, set boundaries, and protected Caleb. Whatever the future held, I knew I was on the right path. Capitol Hill's lights sparkled, and for the first time I felt free. My small South Lake Union apartment glowed with candlelight and the laughter of those I love. Nathan brought a case of beer, joking that your birthday deserves a big celebration. Lisa, ever thoughtful, ordered a chocolate cake from our favorite bakery, inscribed with James, free at 46. Dorothy, my mom, sat on the couch telling funny stories about my childhood, making everyone laugh. Caleb, my 18-year-old son, fresh from Portland, brought a clumsily wrapped gift. Evan Parker, my neighbor and close friend, helped set the table, his smile bringing positive energy. Even Greg Marshall, my former boss at Nexus Tech Solutions, stopped by, bringing a bottle of wine. James, you're a model of resilience, he said, clapping my shoulder. The birthday party filled the living room, with the scent of cake and soft jazz from Evan's speaker. I looked around, heart full of gratitude. A year ago, Claire kicked me out of our Ravenna home. Now, I had a well-paying project manager job, a small startup that just launched its first app, and the Mustang, my dad's symbol, repainted and gleaming in the garage. Amanda Clark, my lawyer, helped me win the family trust case, forcing Claire to repay. She's also finalizing the claim for $50,000 for the Mustang, though Claire keeps delaying. Lisa stood, raising her glass, to James, who stood up and showed the world his worth. Everyone laughed, clinking glasses. Dorothy held my hand. You make me proud, son. Your dad's surely smiling up there. Evan, with a mischievous grin, added, and to the Mustang, the real star of the party. Laughter erupted, and I felt a freedom I'd never known. Dr. Karen Lynn, my therapist, was right. I didn't need to sacrifice to be loved. The people in this room, Nathan, Lisa, Dorothy, Caleb, Evan, Greg, loved me for who I am, not what I could give. As I cut the cake, I spoke, voice slightly shaky. Thank you all for being here, not just today, but this whole year. I used to think I had to sacrifice to keep a family, but now I know real family respects you. I found myself again, and I'll never give that up. Everyone clapped, and Caleb shouted, Dad's number one. I laughed, feeling 15 years of weightlift. After the party, I stepped onto the balcony, coffee in hand, watching Seattle's light rain. Caleb joined me, standing close. Dad, I want to learn to fix cars like you and Grandpa, he said. Can we do it together? I nodded. Absolutely, son. Evan popped by, suggesting a Mustang road trip along Oregon's coast. You need a break, James, he said. I smiled, knowing the future held possibilities. Maybe even a new relationship, but I wasn't rushing. I thought of Claire, the Ravenna house, Robert and Diane. They no longer controlled me. I'd set boundaries, and whether Claire changed or not, I'd keep moving forward. My 46th birthday wasn't just a party. It was proof of my freedom. I gazed at Seattle's lights, feeling at peace. James Sullivan's story. And on my birthday, I got a text from my wife. Sold your car. My parents need a new car. Be grateful reflects the financial pressures, family manipulation, and need for personal boundaries in modern U.S. society, especially in the middle-class context of James, a 45-year-old Seattle software engineer, faces financial manipulation from his wife Claire and her parents, Robert and Diane, when they sell his 1969 Mustang, a symbol of memories with his dad, and demand $20,000 without his consent. This mirrors realities in the U.S., where family financial pressures and the culture of saving face on social media, like Claire's Facebook post, often push individuals into self-sacrifice. James's journey, from leaving a PDF exposing the truth, gaining support from friends, Nathan, Evan, and family, Lisa, Dorothy, Caleb, to rebuilding his life with a new job and startup, is a lesson in asserting self-worth in a society that values individualism. In real life in the U.S. today, learn to set financial and emotional boundaries, especially with family. Like James, recognize manipulation signs, like unreasonable financial demands, or guilt tripping, like Claire's family comes first. Keep clear financial records, like James's PDF, to protect your rights. Seek support from friends or professionals, like Amanda Clark, instead of enduring alone, as community is strength in American culture. Finally, like James reclaiming his Mustang and starting a company, pursue your passions and prioritize yourself, because personal happiness is the foundation of a fulfilling life. Thank you all for joining me on this journey of reclaiming freedom and self-worth. Hit subscribe for more videos where we share and overcome family challenges together. See you next